In the last session, we have seen the JSX. What do you mean by JSX? Now, first let me create new project, or we can use the same thing. I just rename the folder. I just need to rename the folder to day 93. Rename 93. Okay. I'm just saving time of creating the project because it is not necessary to create the or let's do it. Let's create a new project. Day 93. Day 93. Now tell me how to create the new project. Tell me the process of creating new project. Process of creating new project. Can you tell me? Your voice is echoing. How to create new React project. Hello? NPM what? How do you create new React project? Please tell me. Or do you remember anything or not? Hello? Do you remember anything or not? How do you create new project with new React project? You should tell me. If you are not going to tell me, I am not going to type the code. Hello? Am I audible or not? Hello? So you are not practicing, guys, right? You remember?
No.
NPM create with, okay, NVM use 18. This is for me, not to you. So we can paste it. NPM create. Can you see with name of the project? React components. We are going to select the React over here and the JavaScript. Hit the enter. And if you see React components, something have been created internally. Correct? Now integration of the tailwind. So it's a good revision for you. Integration of the tailwind. What things are needed? So we created the React project. Then we need to install few more libraries. CD. Go into the project React components. Paste auto prefixer and other things. All these details are available on All these details are available on the Tailwind official website. Okay. Now npx, we have seen all these things, Tailwind init p. Then one configuration file would be getting created, and into that configuration file, the content needs to be updated. The content array needs to be updated. The content array needs to be updated. This one, which file need to be searched. And in index.css, in here, source index.css, just paste this Tailwind. This is the index.css. In the main.jsx, index.css have been. We can delete this file also, not required. Right? App.jsx is the root component. App.jsx is the root component. I want to delete everything. Remove it. Remove it. App.css. If you need it, you can keep it. Presently, we don't need it. So I'm deleting it. I don't need app.css right now. Main.jsx. Let's keep this thing as it is. Let's keep this thing as it is. The index.css we have imported, Tailwind things have been imported over here. Okay. So main.jsx, index.html, and that's it. App.jsx. Okay. Now I want to build Google, or not Google index page. Let's try to build a table tag. Let's try to build what? A table tag. So here we are understanding the React components. So why I'm starting table tag? Because we are coming from the DOM history, and in the DOM we have created the table and other things. Hope you remember. So here I can create something called as table.jsx, and inside this we can have export function my table. Remember that in a React this should be capital. First letter should be capital. Okay. Now how do you do that? We need the table. So let's go to the Tailwind CSS website, official website. We would be using this thing. Instead of creating our own CSS, we would be using these things. Yeah. Something like this: border collapse, border separate. Okay. Can you see this table? Let me get this table. Just classes they have added, nothing fancy. So in a table, return, and I need to return this table. Just refresh it, reformat the document. So these three dots we don't need. Just remove it. Whatever classes you need, that can be added here. Okay. If you see the my table, we need to import, see, nesting of the table. First we need to import my table from the table, and here we need to add my table tag. Now how do you run the project? npm run dev. Let's create a separate terminal. Desktop, cd mern cd day 93 cd react components, n nvm use 18 npm run dev. Now if you go to this URL, can you see some table kind of thing have been created? Simple table have been created. I want this table should be at the center. So flex, we can say flex, or let's wrap it in a div. Let's wrap it in a div. And the div. Let's reformat it. And here we can apply class name flex, justify content center. Can you see table would be at the center of the screen? So if you remember, we were creating our own class display flex, and that class we were attaching here. Then we were creating inside that justify center. But in the utility first framework like Tailwind, you need to do everything over here, and automatically it will take the things. Can you see this? So we created a simple table. T-head, you know what do you mean by table? We have in detail seen this thing at the time of HTML, and a lot of times we have used this table. So it would be having the header, and it would be having the body. Body would be having the rows like this, right? Border. So this is the border color they have given. Now I want to give a background color BG slate 100. Can you see? Little background color have been appeared. BG slate 100 to this thing also. Now we need to increase the table width. We need to increase the table width, W. And here something like this also we can give 25%. Can you see? W. And inside this, if you want to give a pixels, you can give, or you can write 25%. Something like this. So I want first column to be a serial number, TH, and here we can say SR, serial number. And here everywhere we need to add TD. Just copy this, TD 1. Here also TD 2. Here also TD 3. Can I say serial number? But I need text to be at the center. How do you do that? Text center. So here let's try to apply text center. Can you see it will come to the center? All these are the classes which are text center, 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 text center. Can you see all these things are at the center? Correct? Or text left, you can say. Sorry, this should be at the center. Here we can say text left. This also text left. Can you see all these go to the left? And these things should be at the left. Can you see how much rework you are doing? Hello? Means if you want to change something, you need to change everywhere. Can you see that? We are understanding React components.
Yes.
Left, This is the bad approach. I wanted to show you what bad approach. So state and the city. So how this table should be structured? So first you would be having my table as your outer component, and presently you directly have written the table tag inside this. So instead of that, you need to have my table item. My table item, and here my table. Also, this is one thing. Also, we need to maintain the data in an array. This data we need to maintain in an array, this one, and we need to iterate over the array. Let's try to do that thing first. We can have const details would be an array is equals to an array of the objects. Array of what? Objects. So we would be having state, we would be having state and city, something like this. So this Indiana state, Indianapolis city. So again, state would be there, Ohio. This would be the Columbus. So presently you have a static data, correct? Hello? Am I audible? Presently you have
Yes, sir.
static data. But first thing we need to write through an array. So tell me, how do you write an array inside this? So my table, I can say V1. V1 means this is the raw version we have created. So in the same thing, export function, am I audible? My table V2, version 2. And inside this, I will take this an array. So version 1 is a static data. I will comment it over here. Static data. My table V1. V1. Static data. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So here we have written an array. This is the v1 static data. Now this is the v2 data should come from an array. So here we have created an array. Here we have created an array. Let's ask ChatGPT to create more. Add 10 more states and cities to array. Okay, we don't know the states and cities. It is adding some more data we got. Let's copy the code. This is the array we have and we want to show it in a table. So return from here. Let's have this div. Let's have this div. Div. Inside div, let's have this table. Table. Inside this t head. T head and t body. Now in a t body, your rows needs to be generated dynamically. My table v2. If you go over here, my table v2, there is nothing, and we didn't import it. My table v2. Can you see? Only 3 things are there. There is no data. We need to create the data from this array. Tell me, how do you use this array in this JSX? In the last session, we have talked about JSX. So technically, we need something which will convert this object into the TR. Object into what? TR, right? We want to convert this object. Sorry, we want to convert this object to the TR. So we can write a one function const ob to tr, object to tr, or simply we can write function like this, function object to tr. Correct? Simple function object to tr. So here we will pass an object, state and city, a destructured object. In a JS we have seen this, object to tr, state and the city. This is destructuring. Now it should return what? It should return us the tr. It should return what? Tr. You have created a function and that function should return the tr. Correct? That function should return this tr. So how do you do that thing? First let's do it in a normal way. What exactly you are trying to do? Function obj to tr, function convert or con. Let's simplify it. So here you need to have details dot for each. Details is an array, so we can apply the for each loop, and here we can have a detail dt arrow, something like this. So we have let str is equals to this, and then str plus equals to, in a tr we can say, this is the tr, this is what we were doing in the DOM, correct? This is the tr. Hello, please respond. This is the tr, but in the DOM we were using a normal string. Here we are doing something else. And then here you can say td. So in the first td, can you see here, you can write something like this: dt dot state and dt dot city. There is a serial number also in a td. Presently just say 2 by default. And here we can say return str. From this function return str. So what if you call this function over here simply con? What if you call this function, and can you see something object is getting printed, and something is happening here, something is happening, and you need to apply this logic. You need to apply something like this, right? So there is a details on the details dot for each, and you need to go on appending. What if we use a array, arr is equals to empty, and instead of doing this thing, if we can do arr dot push, we have pushed this thing, and just refresh it, not working. It is returning, let's return this arr, and can you see? You can see the details. So what you have done here, you created an array, and each element of the array will contain the tr. Each element of this array will contain the tr, and simply you called that function over here, and it is showing you in this way. So this is one way. Convert array to tr. I will name it as what? Convert array to tr, right? So here you can apply the way you have applied to this td. You can apply the classes to this td, sorry, class name. Here you can apply the classes, class name, text center, text left, here only text left. So there is no repetition. Can you see? 2 2 2 2, and all those things are getting printed. But the writing this function in this way is a bad idea. So that is okay. I can comment this code. See, comments in the React will work in this way. But React says that, boss, you are correct. This is the correct ideology. So converting this details array by iterating over each and every element, and well, this also can be destructured. Actually, this also can be destructured like this here. State, okay, let's keep it in this way only. Dt, iterate over the details, and go on pushing each item to the array, and just call that function in the JSX block. JSX block. Now here, this is the one of the approach. Another approach is the best approach, details dot map. If you remember, we have seen the map function. Map will return the list itself. Map will return the new array itself. But if it will map each element of this array to something new element, same thing. So I want this to be created, right? Details dot map, and I want this to be created. Details dot map. Remember that instead you to create a new array, then pushing the elements and returning the array, map doing same thing. We have studied the map operator in the JavaScript. And instead of this dt now, we can write the destructured object, state and city. Here actually this is an object, destructured object. So instead of dt, simply access the state and the city. Destructuring, just format the document and same thing will happen. Can you see? Which means that we got the dynamic array or table. Let's rename table v1, table v2 dot jsx. So I will shift this table I will shift this table from this to this file, and in the app table v2 dot jsx, right? Table v1, simple static data. Table v2, data should come from an array. So we have done the two variations. Well, if you don't want to write this over here, you can create the function. Also, you can create the lambda const convert arr to tr using map function. So details dot map. Can you see here? So this code kept clean over here. Details dot map, like this. This code kept clean. Convert arr to map. That is fine. Same thing is there. Either you can write this whole thing, this much whole thing here directly, or you can create the function like this, which is a good idea, and then call this function over here simply. But this is the thing we have seen over here using the array, but still we haven't created this inner element. So here there shouldn't be tr multiple times. Let's create the table new file, table v3 dot jsx, right? Let's have, deliberately I'm showing you multiple ways. Here we are creating a normal function, but this can be export const my table v3, like this. It is also React component represented in a lambda. Let's have these details. If you have studied JavaScript well, you will learn these things easily. If you have procrastinated while learning the JavaScript, you will pay for it now. Okay? Because we are learning the advanced framework. And all these things we have seen in detail in a JS. You may revise the recordings. What is a map function? Array operators, right? Array operations we have seen. Map, reduce, find index. Yes or no? Hello? Hello? You there, team? Okay. Now again, we need this div. Instead, we to write our own CSS, we are using the tailwind. Nothing fancy. You can create your own class flex and you can write that class over here. But instead of that, it's a good to use a ready-made framework. This thing. Okay. Heads, sorry. There are the heads. I will copy these heads as it is and write it. And then there is a T body. And instead of table v3, here we can say my table v3. My table v3. There is no data. Now, your table, this is your whole table. It would be consisting of now sub components. So here we can create one more component, export const or export now function, just to show you they are compatible. My table item. Deliberately I am creating in this way, just to show you both are one and same. Return. So this should return. What it should return? It should return this tr. It should return what? This tr. Can you see that? And here I will accept state and city. To the parameter, I will accept an object state and city. Here comes a new concept. We will see that new concept. This is the details array, right? Now, here details dot map, here we can say dt arrow. Now, instead of creating this tr, we will create my table item. My table item. Can you see that? We will create what? My table item. Can you see? But we cannot pass the data yet. So here we can pass something called, if you try to do something like this, state is equals to dt dot state and city is equals to dt dot city. Can you see? You'll get all these things. So state means you created your own component, and to that component you created your own attributes. So here we can use the destructured way also, state and city. So you avoid writing dt every time, right? or even just remove this thing and just, or here simply pass an object. Here we can say state and city. Let's pass one more object. Okay, let's remove this thing. DT. Okay, I will come back to this point later on, but see, state is equals to dt dot state, more understandable, and city is equals to dt dot city. What do you mean by this thing? You will get to know tomorrow. But here if you see, my table item you have created, and to that item there are one object you have passed, and into that object there is a state and there is a city. Okay, and can you see state and city? Hello. So this is a little bit more good way. Hello. Yes, sir. Can you see still you are getting data? Now what about this 222? I want the index. So in a map, remember that first parameter is the item and second parameter is the index. If you remember, we have seen that. So we need to pass SR also over here, and here we can say SR. So here we can say SR. Can you see if parameters are increasing, IND plus 1, because index starts from 0. Can you see 1, 2, 3, 4 and 13? Index starts from 0. That's why we have written it. Now if you can see, if you have 10 parameters, it is a bad idea to write 10 parameters over here. So what is the great approach? Spread operator. Just pass the object 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and the dt. Automatically the keys inside this object would be mapped to this open object, destructured object SR. In this dt, if you see in this dt there is no SR. There is no SR. SR colon IND. Okay. So let's pass SR separately. SR is equals to IND 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. Just add plus 1. So rest of these things can be passed by means of the spread operator, and it would be like this. Hello. So 3 versions of the table. This is the bad version. This is little bad version. And this is also little bad version. We can optimize this code more. I will push this code. React components, nested component, nesting. We are going to talk about this tomorrow also. Fine. This is all about the components today. Hello? I have pushed the code. You may practice it. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm disconnecting.